Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from LA. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Guys, I missed you.
Hey, Skip, how you doing?
You are going to need a vacation after I get through with you on this show because I am feeling like Kevin Durant in a gold medal game. I am feeling unbeatable, as always.
Oh, that's what it took?
Yeah. Okay. That's what it took. Here we go.
Good to see you.
We're on the planet on Friday night.
I did not come back for this.
Yes.
Okay, we have so much to get to today with the latest with Katie and Kawhi, Dak and Aaron Rodgers. But first, we begin with Shannon's team. After a season derailed by injuries, the Lakers have been busy this summer. First, they traded Montrezl Harrell, KCP, and Kyle Kuzma to Washington in exchange for Russell Westbrook, giving LeBron and AD a big three in LA. And then they acquired veterans in Melo, Dwight Howard, and Trevor Ariza, Wayne Ellington, and Kent Bazemore. They also added some much-needed shooting in Kendrick Nunn and Malik Monk, who both shot 42% on catch-and-shoot threes last season. Shannon, are the Lakers better or worse than they were last season?
Yeah,
what do you
Shannon.
got?
Skip, I believe they're better. I don't think it's a natural fit between Russ, Bron, and AD. But what Brooklyn showed is that if guys are willing to sacrifice, it's not a natural fit between James Harden and Kyrie Irving. Kevin Durant will fit any system in any era, any time.
Thank you.
He's different. Set him aside. Russ and Bron both like to have the ball in their hands. Russ is not an outside shooter. Bron likes to have, and what they've done is the supporting role, the role players are all shooters. Malik Monk, Wayne Ellington, Kendrick Nunn, Melo, Bazemore, all those guys shoot really well.
Agreed.
When he was at best, the 4 years he was in Miami, shooters, Battier, Ray Allen, Mike Miller, he had guys that can knock down the three.
He did.
This is not a natural fit, but I think the thing is with Russ, for the last 5 years, Skip, he's had a triple-double. He's accomplished everything he possibly can individually. The only thing that's missing from his resume is what? A championship. He has a gold medal. He has an MVP. He has a All-Star Game MVP. Now, this is his best chance to get a championship. He's playing with two guys that has championship pedigree. LeBron James goes without saying. Anthony Davis, I believe he's due for a bounce-back season because he heard all the chirping. Can't stay healthy. And a lot of that is warranted. Can't dodge, can't deny the fact. But even before he had gotten hurt, Skip, he was not playing like he played his first year in L.A. So this is not a natural fit. But I believe, Skip, when you get three guys like this with these dynamic personalities, you've got to have a conversation. Okay, guys, look, what are we trying to do here? Russ, how important are those triple-doubles? LeBron, how important is it to you to average 25, 26 points a game? AD, how important is it to you? Because we're going to have to sacrifice something in order for this to work. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing is a championship. And I believe for them to get on the phone and make this happen, because, Skip, you're not bringing in a guy like that without those two guys' blessings. That ain't happening. You know that. I know that.
True.
So since he's there, I believe everybody, just like when LeBron went to Miami, D-Wade, Chris Bosh says, okay, guys, we'll sacrifice. It will work because I believe they want it to work. It's not a natural fit. This is not a natural selection, as they say, Skip. But I believe it's going to work. Skip, look, a lot of the guys that they got rid of, Skip, they were underperforming. Dennis Schroeder wanted to prove that he was the guy.
We're sure he's gone? I don't know what's happened to him.
Well, he ain't coming
he's
back.
Still in purgatory, I think.
The guy turned down 4 years for $84 million. He's going to be lucky to get, what, $7-8 million a year.
Yep.
He overplayed his hand. KCP, for whatever happened, for whatever reason, he just couldn't consistently knock down the shots. These guys, now the only thing that concerns me, Skip, and we know what happens, we've seen guys beat other places and knock down 40, 42, 43% of their threes and get with LeBron and can't throw the ball in the ocean. Now, they're never going to be more wide open than playing with these three guys. The question is, I don't have any questions about Melo because Melo's been the guy on two different teams. He was the guy in Denver, he was the guy in New York, so he knows what it's like to play up under pressure. But these other guys, they don't know what it's like to play. There's a different type of pressure when you play with LeBron James and you play with the Lakers.
Agreed.
That's a whole different ball game. But Skip, I believe they will be better. But you know what it comes down to, Skip. Health.
So that's it.
That's it.
Okay. I'm going to remind our faithful viewers that before we departed upon our vacation, that we did talk about, we did discuss the speculation that Russell Westbrook was at least a person of interest for the Los Angeles Lakers, right?
And I didn't believe it.
And you didn't believe it, and you condemned it.
Nope.
You said it would be a disaster. I believe you used that word disaster.
Yep.
So I'm not going to let you resell it as any kind of godsend just because Russ' late career is going to say, I see the light. I've got to sacrifice for LeBron and AD so that we can three together win this championship that I have never won before. Okay. I'm going back to your first word, which your first impulse, your first instinct was disaster. And I believe this will be nothing less than a disaster for one LeBron James, because I believe that LeBron is the de facto GM of the Lakers. I think that every move that Rob Pelinka made and gets credit for, LeBron either has the original idea for or certainly co-signs.
Yes. Oh,
he is actively involved in every decision. And I'm going to credit LeBron with every nice move that the Lakers made. And I give you lots of nice moves. I told you last year, I first guessed this, that losing Dwight Howard was going to be a big little loss. It wasn't a huge loss. It was a big little loss, but it was a loss nonetheless, and you got him back.
Well, you should have kept one of them. You could have kept JaVale or Dwight. You can't lose both.
Okay, you can't lose both of them. And listen, Carmelo Anthony getting one last hurrah, one last run at a ring with his maybe best friend in the world, LeBron James, is a sweet move by LeBron because Carmelo can still shoot it. He was a 40% three-point shooter. So he has turned into nothing but a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter. But I believe that stage will not be too big for Carmelo. And then Ellington is 42% from three last year, and Bazemore was 41%. I give you those. I give you Kendrick Nunn. I give you Monk. That they can both shoot it or drive it and score it. I liked every move that the Lakers made except the first biggest move. Every move that LeBron made is undercut, disqualified, rendered obsolete by the fact that Russell Westbrook is now your primary decision maker and your point guard. It will be impossible for even LeBron James to overcome that, because in the end, Russell Westbrook is nothing but a sensational solo act. And he is a blast to watch. He is must-see TV for me, no matter where he's been playing. And by the way, I remind you, this is his fourth team in 4 years for a huge reason.
You remember, Skip, there's a compilation Michael Jackson put together some of the greatest artists of all time, and they sang "We Are the World." All those guys were solo acts. All those gentlemen and women were solo acts. But they came together for what?
But they did not have to rely on one being the primary decision maker. It wasn't like one kept writing new material for all the rest of them. All the new material written every game will originate with Russell Westbrook. It's why Kevin Durant tried for 8 years to win with him in Oklahoma City and finally said, I just can't win with him as the guy dribbling the ball up the floor every time saying, my turn or your turn? I think it's my turn. LeBron is going to suffer through that next year. And again, I don't doubt that Russell, he's from the LA area, obviously, and he obviously grew up a Laker fan. He will actually consider this more his team than LeBron's team because he actually invested all of his childhood emotions in this franchise. So I think he will be on his best behavior to start with, but it won't last long because he is what he always was. James Harden took him for 1 year and said, I can't do this.
Russ said he can't take it either because James Harden showing up late, didn't want to watch film. This is what we know about LeBron. He is a student of the game.
All right. And then Paul George tried it for 2 years with Oklahoma City and finally said when Kawhi Leonard provided the escape hatch, he said, I'm out. I'm taking that golden parachute back home to the Clippers. And we're going to talk about this story a little later, but ESPN reported that Russell Westbrook actually contacted Kawhi when Kawhi was on the market, and Kawhi was thinking of going home to the Clippers, and Russ wanted to go to the Clippers, and Kawhi pulled the rug right out from under him and went right back to Paul George.
Well,
and said,
hey, he didn't return his calls.
Okay, but he went to Paul George because he actually, Kawhi chose Paul George over Russell Westbrook because he said, I can win with that guy, but I can't win with Russ.
Look, PG is a better fit for Kawhi than Russ.
Okay,
but Skip, I think the thing is now Russ understands. He's home. He wanted to be in front of family and friends. We know how he is with his family. He's very close. The grandparents are all here. His family is all here. But this is Skip, his resume. The only hole in his resume is a championship.
I got it. And I don't think he has championship DNA in him. Listen, he is a, no doubt, first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, I got no problem with that because you just pointed out. Say that again. 4 of the last 5 years, he averaged a triple-double.
Yes.
It's impossibly all-time solo act great.
Right.
Does it contribute to winning championships? Not really. In the biggest picture, he will win you lots of regular season games, but will he win the biggest playoff games for you with triple doubles?
That's why you got LeBron. That's why you got AD.
All right.
Here's the thing. I don't believe he'll average a triple double because Dwight Howard's going to be grabbing rebounds. AD will be grabbing rebounds. But Skip, on that back-to-back, that third game in 4 days, he will win you one of those games.
He can win those games because nobody plays harder on the offensive end. Not on the defensive end, though he can play some defense when he decides
he'll
to.
steal the ball.
Okay, but on the offensive end, nobody plays harder. But in the end, if you boil him down to what he is, at his core, he is more interested in personal stats than one-loss record. That's just, I've said this from the start. I've said it for years. I've said it for maybe 6 or 7 years on television, that in the end, Russell is more interested in starring than winning. Just slightly more interested in start. Not that he doesn't want to win or doesn't try to win, but
he feels his way is the best way to win.
It is, and it's not. That's what he feels. There's a feel for how you get a game home when you're the decision maker, when you're the point guard.
Right.
And the ultimate at that was Mr. Laker, Magic Johnson.
Right.
And Magic just knew this pass needs to be made to get him that shot to close the deal. Or maybe it's my turn because I got a disadvantage on me on defense and I can take advantage. I can take him down and post him up and score over him and we will close the deal that way.
Right.
Whatever needs to get done, Magic would get done. I don't think Russ has that kind of feel for basketball.
He gonna have that kind of
feel. Well, LeBron obviously does have that kind of feel, but in the end, when you boil down Russ, look at what you just did. You've got a backcourt of two, I'm going to say poor shooters in LeBron and Westbrook, as I've called him many times. So you got LeBrick and Westbrook.
But Skip, if you look at it, Skip, the last 2 champions, you make it seem like the Milwaukee Bucks shot 75% from 3. They were terrible. Look at the Lakers the year before. They were terrible.
But you don't think Chris Middleton can shoot when you need to shoot?
Skip, if you look at it, you look at his average, he's a guy that's average shooting 23 shots a game to get 24 points.
Yeah, but we both agreed he was a clutch closer.
No question. But I ain't got no problem with Bron's clutchness. Well, nobody right now playing is more clutch than GOAT.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw this guy on Friday night. He did it again. He's averaged 30 points a game in 3 gold medal games. We'll talk about clutchness in just a minute, but let's talk about three-point shooting because last year, Russell Westbrook shot 31.5% from 3, and he takes way too many. Of 156 qualified three-point shooters last year, he ranked 150th. 150th of 156. What? How about free throw shooting last year?
Yeah, he
was 65.6%. That was 103 of 110. What?
Well, obviously, Skip, he's going to have to cut down on the amount of threes that he makes. But this is what he will do. He can be a one-man break. He will push the tempo. Now, Skip, they do give up something defensively. They're not as good defensively as they were last year. Caruso would guard on the perimeter. KCP would guard on the perimeter. But you gave up that to get better offense, to get around LeBron. And nobody plays defense in the regular season anyway.
Okay. The Lakers ranked number 1 statistically in defense last year. That is not going to happen this time, even though I like Dwight as a rim protector, but he's only going to play, 15-ish minutes?
50, less than 20 minutes a game. But you still got AD.
Okay. The Alex Caruso loss to the Bulls was shocking to me, and I'm going to quote The Athletic the next day, said, letting Caruso walk is head-scratching at best and a disaster at worst. He was the Lakers' best perimeter defender and one of the best guard defenders in the league. And he brought back his deal from Chicago for them to match. And they said no. And again, I don't know. The Athletic is questioning what the heck just happened here.
Yeah.
I don't know what just happened, but LeBron is going to miss Alex Caruso, as they called him.
But he will, Skip. We know what he thought of Caruso. He loved the basketball IQ that this young man played with.
Well, did he think he was getting too much shine, too much media attention? Well, is it time for THT on TNT to rise and shine? Did LeBron want to clear the decks, get Caruso out of the way, so Talen Horton-Tucker, a clutch client, I might add, can rise?
Stop that, Skip.
Okay, well, is he going to be a big part of the rotation, if not a starter this year?
But who do you think has the more upside, Caruso or THT?
You know, I would have said a year ago, I would have laughed at that and said THT. But the more I watched Caruso, and the more I tried to laugh him off, I couldn't laugh him off.
Skip,
you know what? He can play.
Yeah, he can play, but I believe the upside.
And you know what? He can play with LeBron because they seem to vibe off each other. They had a weird connection.
You remember when LeBron and AD was out and THT took the game over against the Knicks?
He's capable. And is he still 20? I think he's been 20 for 3 years.
He's 20.
Am I right?
20. So I think he's about to turn 21.
He's the ageless wonder, right? Okay, so I give you that. And obviously you had to re-sign him, and you did.
Yeah.
Another nice move that will be undercut by Russell Westbrook. So let's look at what Westbrook has been doing, shall we? If you look carefully at his stats, look what he's done with his turnovers. Last year, he led the league in turnovers, and he's led the league in turnovers 3 times, and he's been second in turnovers 4 times.
Yeah.
That is going to drive LeBron James out of his mind before next season is over, and I'm talking about regular season.
Right.
And then we look at usage rate. How long does he have the ball in his hands? Would you believe that he's led the whole NBA in usage rate 4 times, and he's been second 4 other times? Yeah. That's over the last 11 years. So 8 of 11 years, he's been 1 or 2 in the league in how much time he has the ball in his hands. It just doesn't work. LeBron James, I'm going to say it again. I always tell you this, and you discount it. LeBron James is still the best passer in basketball. I think he was born to be a point guard, to be a Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
And he needs the ball in his hand because he needs to initiate.
It's wearing him down, Skip. He's going into year 19, and you ask LeBron to do what he was doing in basically his whole career, and to maintain that level of play where he takes on all the responsibility in year 19 was asking a bit much. Now, I saw Russell Westbrook play with James Harden. James Harden averaged 30, Russell averaged 25. So I know Russell Westbrook can play with another superstar. We've seen him do that. We saw him play with Bradley Beal, average a triple-double. Bradley Beal came down to the last game, was second in the league in scoring. Yep. The question of the matter is, when you got 3 guys, somebody's going to have to sacrifice. Now, we saw what James Harden, we saw KD, we saw Kyrie. Kyrie and James Harden is very similar to Harden and Westbrook. But we saw Kyrie says, Harden, you're going to be the point, I'm going to be the 2. Mm-hmm. Okay, Russ is going to be the point. I don't know if LeBron's going to play the 3 or the 4. AD's going to probably AD will probably start off at the 4. Late in the ball game, he will play more 5 this year than at any other point in time in his career.
So I think you're telling me that LeBron wants to save some energy so he can pour more energy into scoring as opposed to distributing, because ultimately he is chasing the greatest scorer in NBA history, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Am I right?
The fact of the matter is, Skip, we're right here. It ain't no sense in denying. Skip, you can't deny it. It's just like saying, well, Tom Brady is not chasing Drew Brees. He's right there. So you might as well, and by game 4, he might as well become the all-time passing leader in the NFL.
Is that a way to win one more championship, a 5th championship for LeBron James, to concentrate on scoring over distributing? Because you have picked the worst distributor possible in Russell Westbrook, to me.
But again,
he's not a naturally gifted point guard.
Didn't he lead the league in assists?
Yes, he has,
okay,
but he does it all the wrong ways, to me.
Well, AD will catch a lot of lobs. Bron will catch a lot of lobs. Skip, he's going to have to cut down on the turnovers. He's going to have to cut down on the bad shot selection. Yep. I believe he's willing to do that. I believe that was a conversation that they had at LeBron's house, AD house. Maybe they went over to Russ's house. But I believe this is a conversation that they had and says, we can make this work.
Mm-hmm. All right, so here's my final takeaway from this. I'm going to put your man LeBron James on the couch for a moment, and I'm going to honor him. I'm going to reward him with what might be the shrewdest move of his career, maybe for all the wrong reasons. I believe that he chose Russ for 2 reasons. If he wins with Russell Westbrook as his point guard, he will be able to say, I did something that Kevin Durant could not do. I did something that James Harden could not do. I did something that Kawhi didn't want to do. I won with Russ. And if it blows up, if it is a disaster, guess what? He has got the ultimate scapegoat, the quote goat that you call quote unquote goat. Needs scapegoats. This is the ultimate scapegoat because you will be the first to pounce on Russell Westbrook after some high turnover game and say, well, we can't win with that.
Well,
right?
you can't. You can't win if one of your key players is not playing up to par. You can't win with that. But Skip, the thing is, this is what we know. Even though J.R. Smith had the all-time gaffe in a finals game, you didn't blame J.R. You blamed LeBron James because you said
I did because he deserved it.
See,
okay,
but
that's I was the only voice of reason because everybody else said it's his fault.
No, it's Skip. And all I'm saying is, and that's what's going to happen now, when you're the best player, yes, they'll blame Russ, but they said Russ should not have been. You will say LeBron James shouldn't have put Russ in that situation. He should have taken the shot, or he should have been distributing the basketball instead of Russ.
Well, isn't Russ set up to be the ultimate scapegoat here?
Russ is a superstar. Russ needs to do his job. He does his job. AD does his job. LeBron does his job. I like their chances.
I like the Nets' chances a lot better than I like the Lakers' chances because they even added little Patty Mills, who took over the Olympics for Australia, right?
Yeah, he did. He's unbelievable.
Here we go.
But see, we've never seen Patty behave like that before in a game in the NBA.
Well, maybe after he got out from under Pop, he got to do what he needed to do.
Out from under Pop. Pop got him a championship.
Oh, really? Pop went along for the ultimate ride in that championship. He was the only thing that worried me.
No, I'm talking about for the Spurs. Would they beat the Heat?
I got it.
Well, Patty Mills went crazy.
Yep. Well, he never got to play enough to my taste, and I was his biggest fan.
Guys,
so, good luck with your Lakers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep that same.
And welcome to L.A., Russell Westbrook.
Good luck with your Clippers.
No, I don't think that.
I love my Clippers. Genuine. We got it. We're going to walk it all back, right? Here we go.
There it is.
No mercy.
It was a great weekend for Kevin Durant, who carried Team USA in the first half of the gold medal game and finished with 29 points. He even named KD the Tokyo Olympics men's basketball MVP. He also passed Melo as Team USA's all-time leading Olympic scorer. And this came on the same day the Brooklyn Nets announced Durant signed a 4-year, $198 million contract extension with the team. So, Shannon, did Kevin Durant prove he's the best player on the planet?
No. Since when did we start using Olympic play to determine who the best player in the world was?
It's a world competition. You told me the world had caught up to us in basketball.
Ain't the world caught up to us.
Well, you said that after we lost to Nigeria and Australia in those two exhibitions.
No. Actually, I got a lot of flack for asking how did we lose to Nigeria. They got NBA players. They ain't got those players like that. But Skip, look. The Olympics and NBA basketball are different types of games. They're very different games. But, Skip, there have been times that Carmelo Anthony was the best player at the Olympics, and no one said he was the best player in the NBA. We don't. That's not what we do, Skip. So all of a sudden, you do everything you possibly can to try to undermine my guy. Go. You try to do everything you possibly can to do that.
No, wait a second. All those blind witnesses out there, led by you, were all waiting for Kevin Durant to fall on his face at the Olympics.
Why?
And he did not.
Skip, you do realize, like, USA, we live here, Kevin Durant, and he's representing us. So no matter what you think of a player or a person or their views, you throw all of that aside when they're competing against another country. So even though some people might not like Kevin Durant, they're not like, I don't dislike him that much that I want them to lose to France or I want them to lose to Serbia or whomever they might be playing.
Well, I don't know about that.
But you know what I'm thinking? I'm going to petition the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, because I'm seeing if they can add the sport of hating. Because I know you would win the gold medal because you hate so much on Go James. You've been thinking for 2 weeks, how can you come up with a topic to try to undermine Go James? If the best player in the planet is not Giannis Antetokounmpo, because that was the argument that you used. Whomever has won the NBA title, that's the best player. You did it when Kevin Durant beat LeBron James. You did it when Kawhi won the title. You tried to obfuscate somebody, well, it was the bubble, so it didn't count for LeBron James. Now Giannis has won the title, and you're still trying to do everything you can to undermine him. No, the Olympics
Why would I try to undermine him?
Because you want to stand on this podium, this platform, that Kevin Durant is the best player. Well, LeBron James, all of the best players didn't play. Giannis didn't play. Joel Embiid didn't play. Nikola Jokic didn't play. So, no, the Olympics proved nothing. The Olympics, what it did prove is that I hope Kevin Durant comes back for Paris in 2024, but we're not getting no gold medal.
Thank you. That is true.
That's what I do hope.
We had only one superstar volunteer to go to this Olympics, and it was Kevin bleepin' Durant.
Right.
And he showed you once again he is the best player on the planet.
Skip.
And I think you would now have to admit he's the greatest Olympic basketball player, men's basketball player ever. Am I right?
Skip, first of all, I'm not going to judge professionals. Skip, what made you was at Lake Placid in 1980. What made the Miracle on Ice was so special? It wasn't because they were professionals going against other professionals. These were college kids.
We're Russia in hockey. We're the Russians.
Right.
We have the pros.
Right.
We got it all.
Yeah.
We should win every gold medal.
Right.
Except it looked like we were on a course not to win it because we lost to Nigeria and Australian exhibition.
Out of the exhibition.
In Las Vegas. You had your doubts.
Yes,
you voiced your skepticism.
Yes. I said they still should be favorite. But what I wasn't willing to go to was overwhelming favorites. And what happened? They get the opening game, they play France, and they lose after they allow France to go on a 16-2 run. And even this game, you still was on the edge of your seat, like, okay, yeah, we ahead. But every time we got like a double-digit lead, here came France. But Skip, for me, this didn't tell me anything that I didn't already know about Kevin Durant. Skip, I know he's spectacular. I know he's unguardable. And basically, when he shoots a shot, you just hope he misses because you can't contest it. You can't do anything. When he puts his head down and says, okay, I'm going to get to 12 feet and I'm going to raise up, what you going to do? You just hope he misses. But Skip, this doesn't prove anything. I mean, you're talking about, you got to realize, they only started playing professionals in 1992. I mean, what Michael Jordan did, and basically, even though it was the summer of his rookie year, he hadn't gone yet, I think that was more amazing. I think you will agree with that. That those guys were professionals that they were beating, and these were all college kids that Michael Jordan led to the Olympic gold medal. But Kevin Durant was spectacular. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna get me an Olympic Kevin Durant jersey because he was on some other ish the other night. Yeah, man, Kevin Durant was on that thing. I was disappointed.
Do you realize you're going to get banned as one of the five horsemen with LeBron James, right?
I get like other people. I get like other people.
Hey. You're going to get disqualified.
I ain't going to get disqualified.
You're going to burn your bridge.
Look at that. Look at Kevin. Look at KD putting that thing on Rudy Gobert. Bam! In your face.
What have I been telling you for years on this show? I've never seen anything like Kevin Durant.
No, you probably won't ever see it again either. Okay,
it is my turn now. So after the opening loss to France, I heard from so many people via text, people you know, people who have been guests on this show many times, and many of those entertainers told me I was wrong about Kevin Durant, that he is not the leader that your man LeBron James and their man LeBron James is, and that there's no way he's going to lead our team to another gold medal because the world has, quote unquote, caught up to us. And in many ways, the world has caught up because those other teams all did have very good players who have played together many Olympics.
Right. And now, Skip, some of those teams do have 2 or 3 guys that play in the NBA.
But they've grown up together. Spain and Australia and France, they know each other like literal brothers because they actually grew up from high school on through their college type years playing with each other. So it was very difficult to overcome that. It was not an easy road to this.
No.
And all 3 of those games, especially the Spain and the Australia games, it looked like in the second quarter we were hopelessly down, especially against Australia.
Australia 41-26.
I said, whoa, wait a second. 15 down to these guys?
Yeah.
And guess who? Here he came. So then I don't look at all my ats and my mentions like you do, but again, I just look at Twitter, look at what's trending. And after that France game, I saw backlash all over Twitter, and I believe it all came from mostly LeBron apologists, LeBron lovers. And they're just saying, we can't do it without LeBron. If LeBron doesn't go, we're not going to win the gold. Because
LeBron didn't go in 2016. He didn't want to go.
Okay, but I'm just saying it looked like this year to a lot of people that Kevin Durant could not pull this off. And remember, but just before we went on vacation, he got into it with Bam publicly on Twitter, and I still don't know what it was all about. It's just, I kept telling you that Kevin Durant is Jordan-esque. Michael Jordan would create conflicts with people for no apparent reason. I'd say, I don't know where that came from, but he needed to do it to motivate himself. And Kevin puts himself on a hotter and hotter hot seat so that he has to live up to expectations.
Can I ask you a question? After the first 2 games, when Kevin Durant was averaging 10 points a game, did you think he was the best player on the planet?
Yes, I did, and I told you that then. And I told both you and Chris Broussard, we're going to have him on in a few minutes. I told you both it's laughable to have any suspicions about this team because I kept telling you they are still prohibitive favorites because they have the best player on the planet. He is unstoppable. From mid-range, I've never seen anything more lethal than Kevin Durant. Well, again, they were up 7 with 3 minutes left, and they blew the lead, right?
Okay. Did he disappear? Was he not there?
Okay. What happened when it was time to win the next game? He took over. And the next game, he took more over. And he took more over. And he paced himself because he knew losing to France did not eliminate them. But when they got to elimination games, who took over every big stretch of the game? He took it over. When they'd start off, go 0 for 8 from 3, 0 for 9 from 3 against Spain and Australia. Then Kevin would finally make one, and everybody'd say, okay, we got this because you got it, right?
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like Kevin Durant. He's better than LeBron James, especially at this age and stage of LeBron's career. And I win the gold, silver, and bronze annually in objectivity. Objectivity about LeBron James. Nope. I win it all because I am the only one who will sit and actually spit facts about LeBron.
But Skip, we agreed that when we looked at this team, the team was not put together very well. Skip, they're asking Kevin Love. We get guys, Keldon Johnson, we got JaVale. Skip, we got guys that would never, ever be thought of on an Olympic team that's getting invited. Holiday and Middleton were throw-ins at the end.
They were. And they weren't there for France, obviously. Right. They didn't make it for that game, or they weren't ready to play.
But and they turned out to be Holiday and Booker turned out to be 2 of the biggest additions because you put those guys in the starting lineup and it says Holiday. Man, you need to stop that Patty Mills. He getting all them shots.
He did. He did a good job.
And Holiday started hounding. Book started playing defense. And Kevin Durant's like, okay, until somebody else can come along with me. And then in the championship game, Skip, we got Jason Tatum to come off the bench and gave you 19 buckets. So they needed that. I'm not here to debate today Kevin Durant's greatness because there's nothing to debate. But this is a feeble attempt to you to try to undermine GOAT James. GOAT James has done what
I'm not trying to undermine. I'm trying to overmine. I'm trying to override all of the phony baloney you spew about the phony GOAT. He's not the GOAT. Jordan is, and he's not the best player on the planet. Kevin Durant is. Period. End of story. And he proved it on the international stage on Friday night.
Giannis is the champion. You told now since we've been on air, we coming up on 6 years, aren't we? Yeah. See? Yeah, 6 years. We come up on 6 years.
Do you realize that Kevin Durant by himself almost beat the Milwaukee Bucks? His toe was 1/10 of an inch on the line, or we'd be having a whole different conversation right now.
No. We can't do that. We can't do that. After watching the Olympics, I saw so many people. The guy have the gold medal, and then he gave up a 2 point and with no time on the clock. I've seen so many things happen, so we can't do that. Let's just deal with the facts. Giannis Antetokounmpo went to Kevin Durant's house and won a Game 7. You told me the fact that Kevin Durant went to LeBron James's house twice.
I think Chris Middleton went to Kevin Durant's house and won Game 7.
No, that's good.
Well, he did. He made the big shot.
Giannis started it off in overtime.
Yeah, with a little jump hook that bounced all around the rim and fell through. Scored 2 points in overtime. I'm impressed.
They ain't scored about 4. Yeah. That's all they needed.
Yeah. Who made the shot of shots? Chris Middleton. Who was the closer? You admitted it. The closer for the Milwaukee Bucks was Chris Middleton.
But Chris Middleton is not the best player on that team.
Kevin Durant put on some shows against the Bucks that were all-time. That they were mantelpiece. They belong up. They belong in museums.
Did you not see what Giannis did in the NBA Finals?
Yeah, I did, against a coach who decided to guard him with a 20-year-old or whatever he is, who's
how's that Giannis' fault? Giannis just got to punish him. 50 in a Game 7. There ain't been very many of those Skip Bayless in the NBA Finals game.
I'll take Kevin Durant over Giannis any day or any night.
You can do that, but the best player currently right now is Giannis. That's what you told me. Whoever
I didn't tell you that.
Excuse me. You said whoever wins the finals MVP. The man went to your guy's house.
Yep. Well, Kevin Durant had nobody. He lost his 2 co-stars.
That is what we do, Skip.
Yeah, okay.
You don't say you don't. Did
care about Giannis lose any co-stars? Nope.
Hold on.
Did he have Middleton? Did he have Drew all
LeBron,
day? Yep.
Skip. The second finals that he lost to Kevin Durant, LeBron didn't even have a co-star. But you didn't say you said I don't care about that. You said he went to LeBron.
He's the GOAT. I never said Kevin Durant's the GOAT. I never said that.
No. All I'm saying is this. Now, all of a sudden, you're trying to use an arbitrary, an Olympics. He won the gold medal, so therefore, by that, he's the best player. And I won't allow you to use that because we've never used that.
You doubted him, and he proved you wrong once again. And I appreciated the fact that, as I call him, Kevin Durant, he do rant after games, and he ranted against you.
Let me ask you a question. How is he the greatest if Michael won one as a college player and then won the Dream Team where they won by an average of 1,000 points a game?
Kevin Durant is the all-time leading scorer in the Olympics for the United States of America, and he's in 3 gold medal games, averaged 30 points a game. And don't forget that FIBA World Championship that he was the MVP in 2010. So that he's 4 for 4 in international play.
Skip.
I'll take it. Done.
Yes.
Case closed. Next.
So when do we use that as an argument? So if somebody goes to the Pro Bowl and they light it up, now he's the best player. That ain't what we use.
We don't use. Nobody even tries to tackle.
We've never used Olympic play as determining the best player.
Well, I just did.
Exactly.
Because that's what happened.
Because you tried to undermine GOAT.
Hey, if Kevin Durant had lost on Friday night, it would be all I would hear all day on the show. We would have done, every topic would have been on Kevin Durant failed.
No, I'd have been on the team and who put it together. And I told you, and it was a problem, Skip. Their size was a problem. It was the fact that, Rudy Gobert is 7 foot and they have Falls who look like he's about 7'2" or 7'3" himself.
Who's our best rim protector? Kevin Durant, because he's 7 feet tall and 7'5" long.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
He played well. But how you get from him playing well, winning the gold medal, to all of a sudden now that makes him the best, those are 2 different arguments, Skip.
Well, I just put them together.
I'm talking. What about Luka? A population of 2 million. He got them to the bronze medal game. Did you see that game he had?
Do you want Luka or Kevin Durant right now? I'll take Kevin Durant. Thank you. Next question.
Thank you. Moving on to his favorite guy to talk about around here, Tom Brady. He took a trip to Canton to support his longtime friend and on-field rival, Peyton Manning, who received his gold jacket. But Brady's show of sportsmanship and camaraderie did not spare him from getting booed, and Peyton couldn't resist poking fun, of course, joking that Brady wouldn't be eligible for the Hall of Fame until the year 2035. So, Shannon, what did all of this tell you?
I'm like Brady. What did I do wrong? Everybody give Tom Brady the Commissioner Goodell treatment.
I know.
Just the mention of his name, they start booing. Skip. No matter. We were like, whatever you say, they should have suspended the Deflategate. We're so far removed from that, and we're so far removed from Zeke being suspended. But for whatever reason, Commissioner goes anywhere, they start booing. Tom Brady goes anywhere. Skip, I was at the when they had the 100th anniversary.
Yep.
And then, boy, I'm like, well, damn, this is supposed to be a compilation. These are the 100 greatest players that's ever played. Nobody should get booed.
The one in San Francisco, right?
Yeah. I'm like, how y'all booing?
Yeah.
What y'all booing? First of all, what you booing for? So I didn't get that, Skip. But look, Brady had to be there. Skip, I don't know if we'll ever see this again. 2 guys, normally, if you're coming in the same draft class, you're linked together. Like Peyton Manning and what's the guy that went second, Skip, with the San Diego?
Oh, Ryan Lee.
Ryan Lee.
Yeah.
Skip, we get that. Marino and Elway, because they were the same draft class. Jim Kelly, they're the same draft class. But we've never seen anything like this, Skip. 2 quarterbacks, different teams, that's linked, that's joined. It's Bird Magic. That's what it is, Skip. Can you imagine Bird not being there for Magic, Magic not being there for Bird? Even though they retired apart, Magic tried to petition so they could go in together, and Commissioner Stern said, no, you got to wait your 5 years. Wouldn't let them go in together. But I think I can't imagine Tom not being there, because it's only fitting, Skip, the way they played, and they used to play twice a year because they were in the same division before they reconfigured the league. Yep. And then, Skip, what made Bird Magic? It wasn't the regular season. It was the playoffs. They were playing for the ultimate prize. These guys, 5 times they met in the playoffs, trying to keep the other from getting the ultimate prize. They played 5 times. Manning won the last 3 AFC Championship games. Brady got off to the great start. Brady has an 11-6 record against him over the 17 games. But, Skip, they're linked. I've never seen anything like that. I don't know 2 other players that are linked like these 2 players are linked. You can't think of one without thinking of the other. And because of that, because of the great admiration and love that they have for one another, Peyton is always trying to outthink Belichick. Brady was trying to beat Peyton because he knows that's the standard of which quarterbacks are measured by. And if I want to be what I believe that I am, I'm going to need to beat that guy. And so for me, Skip, I thought it was I'm not shocked at all. As a matter of fact, I would have been more shocked had Tom Brady not shown up for this great.
Really?
Yes, I would have been shocked, Skip. And, Peyton go get a couple of jokes and said 35 in his first year when he's eligible, but he'll release it on IG.
Wait, that means that Tom will play until the year 2030 when he would be 53 years of age. That would be your worst nightmare, right?
Yeah. So for me, Skip, I'm not surprised. And then Eli got it on the action, Skip.
He did.
Eli said, Tommy, I'm going to say you'll see for mine, too. So it was great, Skip, but I'm not surprised that Tom Brady showed up. I'm just surprised that why y'all booing? It's not like y'all had a chance to get Tom when he was a free agent, or there's some kind of rivalry between Cleveland and New England or Cleveland and Tampa. I don't get that, but I'm not surprised that Tom showed up for Brady.
As usual, I see this completely upside down from you, yet you are the Hall of Famer sitting at this desk right now, so you have been to many of these ceremonies and you know what it is about.
Yes.
My problem is this. I don't see Tom Brady and Peyton as equal rivals like I saw Bird, Magic. They went back and forth and back and forth. Obviously, Tom is now 7 Super Bowls to Peyton's 2 Super Bowls. Right. And yet the glaring irony here is that what had to eat at Peyton a little bit on, what was it, last night, on Sunday night. I was thinking, I get the 2 ceremonies confused, Saturday and Sunday, since there were 2 of them. But what had to eat at Peyton a little bit last night, he's only a year and 5 months older than the guy sitting in the crowd who's still playing for a team that many people think is going to win another Super Bowl, right?
Right.
So Peyton has to say, how does he get so lucky? He's still going.
Well, I mean, luck has to do something with it. God blessed him with the because I believe had Peyton not had that neck injury, Skip, I believe Peyton would have probably played 2 or 3 more years.
All right. Before I launch on what I'm going to say about Tom Brady, I want to emphasize to everybody watching that nobody has defended Brady more than I have. I think you would agree with that. And I am his biggest fan and supporter.
Right.
But I was surprised that he went. Obviously, there is huge respect back and forth between those 2. But I do think you could have made a case for Tom Brady staying at Tampa training camp and letting Peyton have his moment unto himself without trying to share any portion of that stage with him. It's a fine line between I'm here to support you or I'm here to take away some of your shine because I'm still Tom Brady and I'm the defending Super Bowl champ, right? And Tom delighted in being there because I believe that Tom is finally in the mode of, I'm going to enjoy this.
Yes.
I'm going to celebrate the spoils of victory in ways that I never was able to under Coach Belichick in New England.
Right.
And you have made that case.
And that might be the only reason he was there.
Okay. Well, okay. Am I right about that?
Right.
Tom wants to just bask in the glory of it because what current player belongs in the Hall of Fame more than Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., right? He does, and he knows it. So I think he wanted to experience just a little taste of what that night is like. Because you know, you've gone to many of these nights, so you know, and you've stood at that podium and accepted that award. So you know exactly what he doesn't know. He'd never been to one, to my knowledge.
I think, Skip, also, I think the biggest thing is what I'm seeing, and I could be wrong, Tom Brady is finally enjoying the journey.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
For the first 20 years, it was always the destination.
Absolutely.
But now,
yes.
Man, the process, I got to enjoy this.
Right. But if you could ever make a case for waiving the 5-year rule and just putting somebody straight into the Hall of Fame the year after they retire.
I believe they should do that. They do that in hockey.
I know.
Like Gretzky, retired, they put him in. Messi retired, they put him in.
Well, Tom Brady shouldn't have to wait 5 years, right? Just put him in. Because does anybody have any doubt about it? No, nobody has any doubt. So the point was that he enjoyed being there. But I think, to your original point, it backfired a little bit, because I got to tell you, I was also shocked. He got loudly booed. And I know some of it's like good nature, because a lot of people were there to support Peyton. So if you...
Peyton fans are going to always boo Tom.
They're going to boo Tom. And so it's funny. Peyton was going to make a joke about Tom, and he said, "My good friend Tom Brady," and he said it sarcastically because he's about to make a joke. And then, to Peyton's credit, he has enough comic timing that he just dead stopped and let everybody boo, and then started up the joke again, because you have to wait. You don't want to get drowned out by the boos.
Then people won't hear the joke and the punchline.
That is correct. So in the end, I think it stung Brady a little bit that he got booed that loudly, and he kind of turned around and acknowledged and fired back.
What did I do wrong?
Yeah, what did I do wrong?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay. Do I think it eats at Tom a little bit that Peyton was always a little more popular than Tom? I think it does. It does. And one big reason that I believe Peyton was more popular is that Peyton showed on Saturday Night Live, a couple times, 2 or 3 times, that he's naturally funny.
He is.
Right? He can do comic timing. He can do skits. He can deliver jokes. Right?
And the thing with Peyton, Skip, we know how meticulous he is. We know how much film he watches. It's hard for us to say anybody watched more film than Peyton Manning. But he always found a way to lighten the mood. It was like Tom was studying, and it was just like always just straight ahead.
Correct.
He wasn't funny. He had it was just like football, win, win, win. And Peyton, like, you know what? I'm going to study, but I'm going to have some fun along this thing. So now people are getting an opportunity to see a different side of Tom, and I think they're starting to like that side of Tom.
Maybe a little bit, but they're still not ready to not boo him.
Skip, it's 1 year, you can't undo 20 years in 1 year. And Peyton, this is what we've seen from Peyton. This has been Peyton basically his whole career. We see him mic'd up, and he's talking about it. Hey, did you make this Gatorade? This is some good stuff right here. So we've heard bits and pieces. I don't know if we've ever heard Tom mic'd up where it was exclusively. Yeah, he's mic'd up and he's like, and getting fired up and things of that nature. But Peyton has always shown us a side of him that Tom has guarded, that have kept very close to the vest. But now...
Because it was the Patriot way.
Correct. Okay. But since he's been removed from that... He let his hair down. And I like it. I like it. And I told you, Skip, we talked about this before we went on break, is that I'm upset that it took 20 years and that he was up under Coach Belichick and the way they did business, that we didn't get an opportunity to see Tom Brady. Because I believe, because everybody talks about, man, Tom's a funny guy. He liked to play, he likes to have a good time. But we never saw that.
We never saw it.
Now we're starting to see.
So what was Peyton's, the object of his shot? It was about Instagram, because Brady is taking over Instagram. I mean, he's almost LeBron-esque on Instagram, and Peyton is not an Instagram kind of guy.
Peyton don't even have Instagram.
Okay, there we go.
I don't think Peyton have any social media.
There we go. So I do congratulate Peyton because it was a great moment for him and his father and Eli and his mother and the whole family. It was great. It was unbelievable.
But I'm not, Skip, I'm not surprised that Brady showed up.
Man,
you know what? I'm surprised. I don't know. Was Coach Belichick there? I would not have been surprised if Coach Belichick had shown up. It's gonna be interesting to see Coach Belichick show up at Tommy's.
I'm just not sure.
Stop, Skip. You know good where that man coming.
He's gonna be there. You gotta go.
You will not be introducing him.
Maybe not. That's
probably his dad.
I hope so.
If I'm thinking anybody's going to be his dad.
If he's not there, he will give us plenty to talk about.
No mercy.
LeBron seems rejuvenated after the Lakers' offseason moves, but more than anything, he's motivated. In a since-deleted tweet, the King took some time to clap back at naysayers, saying, quote, "Keep talking about my squad, our personnel ages, the way he plays, he stays injured, we're past our time in this league, etc., etc., etc. Do me one favor, please. And I mean please. Keep that same narrative energy when it begins. That's all I ask." Well, he did delete it. Shannon, are you surprised that he tweeted this and then deleted it?
I am surprised that he deleted Skip. I wish he'd left it up there. But it's hard, Skip, when you have that many followers for you to tweet something out. The moment you tweet something out, anybody of prominence, somebody gonna take a screenshot of it. Because a lot of times, Skip, I might tweet something, I'm like, damn, I misspelled that, or I wanted to say this. And I try to, and somebody will send it right back to, I'm like, bro, I just made a mistake in what I wanted to say.
Don't hit send.
So, Skip, sometimes you tweet and your mind,
I got
think it's going faster than your mind. But, Skip, it's fair criticism. Anthony Davis has been injury prone. 2 of the last 3 seasons, LeBron James has missed at least 20 games. That's fact. That's not conjecture. That's not innuendo or speculation. That's fact. Russell Westbrook missed time last year with the Wizards. He missed time with the Rockets. He's missed time with knee and hamstring injuries. Those are facts. Last I checked, Melo is 37. LeBron's going to be 37 in December. Dwight's 35. Their ages, that's fact. Now, the question is, can you stay healthy and prove this narrative that you guys are past your prime and you guys can't do it? But what everybody said about your ages is true. Anthony Davis has been injury prone. That's true. LeBron, you've missed 20 games at least in 2 of the last 3 years when you've never missed that in the previous 15, 16 years. So, I don't get what he's upset about. Now that, okay, I see that. Okay, let me I'm in the lab. I'm getting that work in. AD getting that work in. We just go out here and do what we do. And at the end of the day, we'll see.
So if you had been LeBron James, you would have stood by what you did.
Yeah, it's up there. I stand on it.
So why do you believe in the end that he did something that he rarely, if ever, does? I don't know if he's ever done this. He is not a tweet deleter, to my knowledge, right?
He did it one time when he tweeted something about what transpired in Ohio with the young lady.
All right.
So he tweeted, but
it's not
often.
That's true. That is true.
It's not often.
Yeah, okay. But he's not a tweet deleter on basketball issues, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
So why do you think he deleted it?
Skip, I have no idea. I have none.
Okay. My first thought was that it came across as a little too thin-skinned, a little too KD-ish, because KD is always like, how dare you? Like, you. I'm calling you out even before the fact.
And remember, Skip, the situation that when he went to Miami, he was the villain and everything that somebody said, he took a mental note of, okay, this is what you said on this day.
Yep.
Okay, when I win the title, I'm going to get you. This is what you said on that day. Okay, I win the title, I'm going to get you. So it comes off as like, he's taking notes. He's taking names. So everybody that says something, hey, what were you talking in July? Weren't you talking in early August about what transpired? I don't hear nothing now. It's June.
So I must say that I actually liked the deleted tweet. I liked the construction of it. I liked the impact of it. I liked the way he did it because he said, keep talking about my squad, our ages first. Then the way he plays, that has to be Russ that he's talking about.
Yes.
He stays injured, that has to be AD. It has to be. So you're naming him without naming him, obviously.
Right.
We're past our prime. That's more about
Melo.
LeBron. Well, it's LeBron and Melo.
Yes.
I'll give you both of those. And then I liked it. It built up to a crescendo at the end. Do me one favor, please, all caps. I mean, please, probably don't need that line, but again, he's emphasizing keep that same narrative energy, all caps.
Right.
How many times do you tell me that on this show? I want that same energy on Monday, right?
Yep.
Okay, you tell me that almost every Friday on this show. I want that same energy. That is correct. That's all I ask. Hashtag thank you, which is sarcastic, obviously.
Correct.
And then he has to add the crown, and I'm not sure what he's the king of anymore.
You do.
He's not the king of the NBA.
Yes.
He's not even the king of L.A.
He's still the king.
Really?
Who the king of L.A.?
Well, Kawhi Leonard is. and by the way, he did. Congratulations, Kawhi, re-signing with the Clippers. And I assume
they said he was going to resign. He hadn't resigned yet.
He will, and I believe he'll be back by April, maybe May, and they just might make a run because they're all back.
All I know is he's very snakish, and we'll talk about this a little later.
He can be very snakish. We saw that in San Antonio.
But Skip, the thing is that if you think about it, is Carmelo Anthony not 37?
Yeah.
Has AD not been injured?
So you're saying all these are valid criticisms that he's responding to?
Yes.
Okay, even if they are, he chose this roster. At least he co-signed on this roster.
Yes.
So in the end, my ultimate takeaway has to be that he lost some conviction. I always tell you, have the courage of your convictions. Whatever you believe,
that's why when I tweet,
stand by it. Stand by it. Put it right out here in the middle of this table and live with it.
Right.
Own it. And own it all the way through the weekend until Monday.
Right.
And if you're wrong, you're wrong. I'm never wrong, but I never.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
So the point is, it comes across as he didn't have the courage of his conviction. Ultimately, he didn't completely believe what he was tweeting about. I think it comes down to, can you really trust Russell Westbrook on this stage? As you pointed out, Russ has been on big stages. He ain't been on this stage.
Yeah, a whole different animal.
He hadn't played beside that guy or that other guy, for that matter.
Right.
He hadn't played beside those guys.
There have been very few players that can stand next to LeBron. Kyrie was able to do it.
He did.
D-Wade was able to do
it.
Anthony Davis, his first year there. But there's not, Skip, I mean, we've seen guys that have a specific role, and that's all they got to do is, and LeBron passing the ball, and they act like they ain't never seen a basketball.
For all of Russell Westbrook's triple-double greatness, he played in Oklahoma City, very small market. Houston, which is it's a big market, but it doesn't feel that big to me.
In D.C.
Okay?
With no expectations.
With no expectations,
Russell has not had expectations since Kevin Durant left and went to Golden State. That was the last time he had expectations. Nobody thought that Russell was taking OKC to the NBA Finals. Nobody thought James Harden and Russell Westbrook were going to the NBA Finals. Nobody thought Russ and Bradley Beal were going to the NBA Finals. Now, Skip, there's a real expectation that this team is coming out of the West. That's what anything less than that.
I agree.
Getting to the NBA Finals.
Fox Bet says they're coming out of the West.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Fox Bet has the Nets a slight favorite to win it all over the Lakers.
Right.
I would make them an even more than slight favorite to do that. But the Lakers are favored to win the West. And LeBron, I believe, at the last second, he hit send. And I don't know how long it was before he deleted, but I think he
had... It don't matter, it's screen grab.
Okay, but he had a second thought like, man, do I really trust Russ to live up to this tweet? Because I don't know that he knows he can trust him.
If they're healthy, they'll be there. If they're healthy, they'll be there.
If the Clippers are healthy, they will be there.
Clippers ain't going nowhere.
Well, they were going someplace last year.
At some point in time, Skip, I thought y'all had next. When is next?
Well, they had it last year.
Y'all had next, after next, after next.
Well, Joe Ingles took away next.
There you go. Now you play. Don't do that,
Well,
Skip.
he did. He bumped Kawhi off stride, and he hit a little...
Okay, what about the year before when y'all was up 3-1? Who did that? That was Doc's fault.
Ty Lue switched that all around. He changed all that. And I still love Doc Rivers, but they needed a new voice. They got a new voice, and they were on an incredible roll. It's one of the great roles in playoff
how about
history.
This here? While you talking about AD, and you talking about Russ, and you talking about LeBron's help, what about your guy?
Yeah, what about
You know Kawhi got them shaky knees now. His knees like my hip.
I got it. But I am told that he came out great from the surgery and that it was not that serious as it could have been, where it's not going to be a whole lost year over this surgery. That's what I was told.
But see, that's what you're told if that was a normal person. If that was a normal NBA player. What do we know about him? You said the guy had a little thigh bruise and missed 72 games.
Well, that's because he wanted out. Okay? All right? On paper, the Clippers are better than the Lakers.
They ain't on no paper.
Yes, they are.
You Skip, every year you talk about that on that paper. You must have been using that whiteout. You remember your typewriter, Skip? You remember your class at time when you had that whiteout?
I never used it.
Yeah, you did.
I never used it. I never did. I swear I never did it. I don't even know how you use it.
You do know you
don't.
First of all, they used to have the white out liquid, and they used to have paper that you could tape over it to take the work. But that never here. That's not here today. That was a long time ago. I ain't been on the typewriter since high school.
Well, you're older than I am, so you
had that Clark Kent typewriter. You were pecking.
Hunting and pecking. I'm 100 words a minute.
You ain't no 100.
I am 100 words a minute.
You ain't been on the typewriter in years.
I have two. I'm on one every night.
No, that don't tell. You talking about your keyboard, huh?
Yes. What's the difference?
There's a big difference.
There is not a big difference. I'm hunt and peck when I text.
Are we really arguing about who is
But don't worry.
typing
But I tell you what,
faster
don't you worry about that.
That is true.
We're gonna put. You know what? I got a feeling that's gonna be opening night. I got a feeling that's gonna be opening night.
The Paul George Memorial opening night? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, Paul George?
Yeah.
Oh, so Paul George you got now. Okay.
Well, he did did a number on you guys last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then went out like some goats. Went out like some goats.
Yeah, we got the GOAT.
No, y'all don't.
The current GOAT.
I just want to know when is it next? When is it going to be Georgetown? You talking about this Georgetown, this Kawhi town? We got next.
Well, we had next.
He got a little keychain dangling.
Yeah, you got a big break. Thanks to Joe Ingles. You should send him some flowers.
I'm just kidding, man. The man barely bumped Kawhi. And you talking about Joe Ingles. You make it seem like the man
It's a
did
shrewd move. Changed the playoffs. Did it not?
Y'all gonna lose anyway.
No, we weren't.
No mercy.
Well, the Cowboys have been extra cautious with Dak Prescott, who's been dealing with shoulder soreness. According to Mike McCarthy, Dak did some light throwing on Saturday for the first time since leaving practice July 28th. Dak did not travel with the team to last Thursday's Hall of Fame game, but during the broadcast, Cowboys legend Troy Aikman gave his thoughts on the situation. Take a listen.
The Cowboys are downplaying it, but I think when your franchise quarterback's missing the amount of time that he's missing, I tend to think it's probably a little bit more significant than what they have let on.
Ooh, interesting words there. Shannon, is this a big deal or no big deal?
It's not a big deal right now. Now, Skip, I was with a franchise quarterback, and he would miss a couple of days, 2 days, throwing it, his shoulder sore from throwing. He's back at it. I don't remember John missing 10, 11, 12 days.
John Elway.
Yeah. I don't remember him missing that amount of time, and I played with him for a decade.
What quarterback you've ever played with didn't have a camp arm, like just soreness because you're just throwing too much?
Right,
okay,
right.
I got it. Go ahead.
And that's what I tell guys all the time. Running and what you do is fine, but it's nothing like practicing once you get in training camp, the running the routes, the monotony, the legs getting tired, and you got to go do it over again, Skip. So I get it. I think the season starts 1 month from today. Now, Skip, there's plenty of time, a month. But, Skip, if this thing drags out another week, another 2 weeks, now I think you're going to be alarmed that here we are, the guy's coming off a compound ankle fracture, and now he's dealing with shoulder issues. You want timing. The quarterback is unlike any other position, Skip. A wide receiver can miss every damn practice, come in the game on Sunday and light you up. A running back can do the same thing. Quarterbacks are not like that, Skip. Quarterbacks normally need timing. They like rhythm. And for me, like I said, it's not a big deal now because they don't have to play this weekend. But this thing lingers another 7-10 days, Skip. I'm going to have some concern like Troy Aikman is having. Now, Troy, having played the position, knows all things Dallas. Now, he ain't just talking out the cup, out the side of his neck, Skip.
No.
He's got it from good authority that Dak Prescott injury is more significant than what the Cowboys are telling us.
Shannon Sharp. I've been doing this for a long time. I love my Dallas Cowboys. I still believe they're at least going to win the least this year, the NFC least. At least they're going to do that. Right. I don't go any farther than that. But at least I keep telling you they got this. I'm starting to wonder if they even have that.
They ain't got that, huh?
Dak Prescott is obviously coming off a career-threatening ankle injury that required multiple surgeries. Surgeries. And by all accounts, he's 1,000% on course to be ready for the season opener.
Right.
What has Tom Brady done every offseason that contributes to Super Bowl championships? He's brought his receivers together in Tampa parks during a pandemic just to play catch, just to run little routes, just to get some kind of connection going.
And what do you see Tom Brady always do in the offseason, Skip? He always throws with his pads. You've never seen Tom Brady throw to his receivers without his pads because he's getting his body used to throwing with pads. We play with pads. Why would I practice without pads?
In the end, Tom Brady believes it's all about the chemistry you develop in the offseason and during camp.
Timing and repetition.
That will win football games in December and January.
Right.
Because you know exactly, you did this for a living with John Elway.
Yes.
And let's just stay with John Elway.
Right.
You got to the point where you knew and he knew where you were going to be.
Absolutely.
At the split second you were supposed to be there. When you planted your foot to stop, the ball was going to arrive because he trusted Shannon Sharp would be there.
Yes.
The only way to build that kind of connection and rapport and chemistry is to do it and do it and do it some more.
Yes.
With nobody guarding you. You just do it until you can do it in your sleep.
Right.
Dak can't do it right now, and I am befuddled to the point of I'm on the edge of the cliff over this because it's enough to miss the time he missed because of the ankle.
Right.
It's enough to fear that he can't live up to a $75 million payday he gets this year. He's going to make $75 million this year. The second highest paid player in the NFL is Trent Williams at $36 million. The next highest paid quarterback, you have to go all the way down to Brady at 27.5. I want to say it again. $75 million for Dak, 27.5 for Tom. He's the second highest paid quarterback.
Right.
Now, again, this is front-loaded because he got his big bonus up front, but he will make a grand total of $75 million to do what? Can he even play? I don't know. It got so bad yesterday, they said he was throwing light objects in practice, as in, I don't know, Nerf footballs, ping pong balls.
So what did they actually throw in the game? They throw NFL footballs in the game. So what is a light object going to do for me? That's what they do if you coming off rehab, after you coming off surgery.
Yeah.
You coming off shoulder surgery, rotator cuff or labrum, they have you throw light object.
Light objects?
We won from the season.
I saw him throw one pass via Todd Archer of ESPN, and it was like a push pass, a little push pass to a running back, looked like he shot-putted it, so he didn't have to use whatever was wrong with his arm.
Right.
It was originally reported as a torn muscle. Then it became a strained muscle. Then our man Jay Glazer said it's more of a baseball injury, said this ahead of Thursday night's game, and that the Cowboys had to seek counsel from the Texas Rangers baseball team to find out how their medical staff treats this kind of injury. It's some kind of lat tear or pull. Okay. In all my years, I've been covering back to Don Shula's Dolphins and Chuck Knox's Rams here for the LA Times in LA. In all my years, I have never, ever heard of a football quarterback suffering a baseball pitcher kind of injury. Have you ever?
Not from a lat. No.
Okay.
No.
Like some kind of torn.
No.
How did this happen? How could this begin to happen? And remember, the football motion is much more natural than the baseball pitch because my man Tom House, my friend who teaches Brady and counsels, obviously all the great quarterbacks down through the ages.
Because the baseball skip, a football arm is not going through the torque as a baseball arm.
When Tom House was the pitching coach for the Texas Rangers, what did he have his pitchers do on their off days? Throw footballs, and everybody laughed him almost out of the league over that.
Right.
But he said this motion, because remember, you're going to turn with the football, you're going to make it spiral.
Right.
You're going to turn your thumb under this way to make it spiral that way, right? With the baseball, you're going to do that, or you're going to do that, or you're going to do that.
The football skip is just one motion.
Just one motion.
You got so many pitching motions to throw so many different balls, the curveball, the slider, the changeup, the breaker.
It's highly unusual that to throw a football would tear a muscle or strain a muscle in your arm. And I'm saying, how could this happen to us? To the Dallas Cowboys when it looked like they finally had gotten their injuries behind them. Now, this is not only mysterious, but it is completely maddening to the point of pushing me over the cliff that you can't throw it all. So Amari Cooper's been out, as you know. CeeDee Lamb is emerging, as I predicted that he would. He's going to become their number one receiver sooner than later. But is Dak throwing to CeeDee in practice as we speak? No, he's not, because he can't throw.
Because it's hard, Skip. The thing that why guys don't like their star guys to miss, Skip, because that guy is normally not as fast. He doesn't run the same type of route, the same cadence. quarterback are rhythmic. John knew my cadence. I knew him. In my head, okay, I got jammed. That back, okay, Shannon cut the route.
Okay,
He's ready to throw.
Go.
Yes. And you need to see that in practice. You need to do that.
Absolutely.
And for me, like I said, Skip, right now, they don't play tomorrow. They don't play this weekend. They play this weekend, but it's a meaningless game. But if this thing drags out another week, 10 days, 2 weeks, Skip, I think everybody's going to be concerned.
Okay, so they play Friday after they break camp. They play at Arizona. Then the following Saturday, which is August 21st, the night of the Pacquiao fight, they play at home against the Houston Texans. Well, that's the dress rehearsal. Third, most teams only have 3, but they had 4 because of the Hall of Fame game. But this would be the proverbial dress rehearsal. Right, correct. In which
your starter's going to play. Your starter's going to play at least to the half, maybe 3 quarters.
Okay, it's the one game in which a Tom Brady might play a half.
Yeah,
he might.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He just might.
Yeah.
I've seen Belichick play Brady. This is 2 or 3 years ago. His last year in New England, he played him into the third quarter of this game.
Yes.
Okay. Will Dak even be able to risk throwing a football on August the 21st? Because if he can't, they open at GOAT. They're at Brady, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, good luck with that.
And then maybe they'll still be trying to downplay and say it's not that serious. But that guy's going to miss all the preseason after he missed, 11 games last year.
Right.
But we feel comfortable with him going in, not having taken basically what he played, practice 3 days, 4 days. So you feel very comfortable. The guy basically missing the entire year and going straight and playing the defending Super Bowl champs.
That's what you're looking at right now. With the backup quarterback, it looks like it's going to be Garrett Gilbert. Remember, against the Steelers last year at home, he played okay. He made a few throws.
Well, he was better than bad.
He was better than bad. Ben DiNucci, who looked kind of bad the other night.
You saw him Thursday night, right? Okay.
He was throwing a lot of sidearms, underarms. I don't know what he was doing, but Garrett Gilbert's okay.
Yeah.
But do I want to see Garrett Gilbert play Tom Brady? I do not. Do I want to see him against that Tampa defense?
Yeah. Jerry got up there and he buried his soul. Jerry's like, I'm not getting any younger.
Yep.
Garrett Gilbert is not going to get me closer to my ultimate goal of winning another Super Bowl before my time on earth is up.
Get well soon, Dak Prescott.
Yeah, you better hope so.
No mercy. After a season derailed by injuries, the Lakers have been busy this summer. First, they traded Montrezl Harrell, KCP, and Kyle Kuzma to Washington in exchange for Russell Westbrook, giving LeBron and AD a big 3 in L.A. And then they acquired veterans in Melo, Dwight Howard, Trevor Ariza, Wayne Ellington, and Kent Bazemore. They also added some much-needed shooting in Kendrick Nunn and Malik Monk, who both shot 42% on catch-and-shoot threes last season. We're joined now by Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard. Chris, great to see you. I start with you. Are the Lakers better or worse than they were last season?
They're better. And I know the 3 of us, I believe, Shannon and Skip and myself, when we first heard about them adding Russell Westbrook, all of us were skeptical and didn't really like it. And I remember I said when Brooklyn came together, that was the greatest chemistry experiment I've seen in the NBA in decades. Well, this group, Russell and LeBron, they make Brooklyn look like a match made in heaven. All right. That said, the talent is just incredible. All right. The talent at the top of the roster, LeBron, AD, and Russell, is incredible. Then I think they did a good job, especially considering what they had to work with financially. They did a good job of adding around them. And I'm going to give LeBron the credit or benefit of the doubt of, because he's one of the smartest players we've ever seen, that he might be able to make this work chemistry-wise. All right, as far as him and Russ. But let me get to this first. Around them, Jen mentioned a lot of the shooters. I don't think any of them are Kyle Korver. None of them are awesome shooters, but they're solid. Malik Monk, Kent Bazemore, I like as a 3-and-D guy. Wayne Ellington, Trevor Ariza. Carmelo even has become a much better three-point shooter. Dwight Howard gives them size that Skip, I think you said this earlier or, last year. They missed him last year. And I know they brought on Andre Drummond, who's bigger than Dwight, but Dwight is more athletic than Drummond. I think he was just a better fit. So he'll help when they want to go really big. And they still got Marc Gasol, who can spread the floor, which is going to be critical for them. They'll probably start Gasol, is my guess, because having floor spacing is going to be huge. Now, the key is still, I'll get to Russ and LeBron. The key is Anthony Davis still. All right, Anthony Davis has got to stay healthy, number one, and get back to being one of the best bigs in the league like he was 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't do that, they likely won't win the West, let alone a championship. AD has got to be AD of 2 years ago. All right, now for LeBron and Russ, I know when they talked a few weeks ago before the trade was made, LeBron talked about playing power forward, AD at the 5. I like AD at the 5. But LeBron, in my view, needs to be the point guard. I think LeBron needs to take on the mindset of Magic Johnson to make this work. And I think he should view himself as the third scoring option. And he should make sure Anthony Davis gets his, Westbrook gets his, and all the surrounding pieces. LeBron's going to score 20-plus points just by being on the floor for 30 minutes. We know he can get his, but make sure those other guys eat. I think that's critical. I think Westbrook moving off the ball, cutting to the basket, backdoor cuts, I think he could be great in that regard because LeBron will draw double teams and find him. And so I think that would work. And then Westbrook can handle the ball in transition and with that second unit when LeBron's on the bench. But I think, look, it's going to be an interesting fit. It is a chemistry experiment, but the talent is so great that it's hard to deny that I think they got to be the favorites in the West.
I agree with you. I think they're definitely better offensively. Now, I don't know how much better they are defensively. They probably got a little worse defensively because KCP and Caruso, all those guys could guard the perimeter, and most of these guys are shooters instead of defenders. But for me, and you alluded to it, Chris, this is why I believe that it will work, because you're absolutely right. When they told me that the Brooklyn Nets was going to get James Harden, I said, do what with him? Because you got Kyrie and James Harden. Right. I took Kevin Durant out of the equation because Kevin Durant can play at anybody, anywhere, anytime, any era. Kevin Durant doesn't need to be the ball. The other two guys are very ball dominant. So I'm like, okay, who's going to be what? Who's going to be this? And this is what gives me hope that they can play together, the Lakers, with Russ, AD, and LeBron, because I saw what happened in Brooklyn because guys were willing to sacrifice. James Harden won an MVP. Kevin Durant was already Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant wants to win a title outside of Golden State to solidify. I believe one championship in Brooklyn solidifies Kevin Durant more so than the two that he got in Golden State. Kyrie hit the shot, but these guys, but he had caught a lot of flack because for whatever reason it didn't work. It was a failure by everybody's estimation. What transpired with Kyrie in Boston, that was a failure. You got Jason Tatum, you got Jaylen Brown, you got Marcus Smart, and you can't get past the first round? Second round? Nah, that's not good. And they got to the NBA Finals, they got Eastern Conference Finals without you. Kyrie got hurt. So this is what gives me hope that the big three and the Lakers can play together because I saw how it came together for Brooklyn. So for me, Skip, I can't go be another year for your Clippers not making the NBA Finals again.
You hope.
Ain't no hope. I know.
You should thank Joe Ingles
for
saving the day for you last year.
You see what he's doing?
Is it my turn, finally? Now for some truth. Now for some objectivity about what just happened. Even the great LeBron James, the man I still call the best passer in basketball, will not be able to overcome Russell Westbrook. Now, this was a very interesting twist because my man Shannon Sharp has been advocating that Russ will be the point guard so that LeBron can finally move off ball a little bit more and concentrate on scoring and chasing down Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
You say that like that's a bad thing.
Well, he's the all-time greatest scorer in the history. Is that all you got? Is that what you want now? Do you want a fifth championship or do you want Kareem?
Both.
Oh, well, you're not going to get both. Not with Russell Westbrook. So to Chris's point, Chris is saying that Russ would play off ball more as the, two guard, I guess? You will have the worst Westbrooking two guard in the history of pro basketball if that's what you ask him to do. And right now you have one of the worst shooting backcourts, if I call LeBron the point guard and Russ the two guard, because you do have Westbrook and LeBrick from three, because Russ was horrendous from three last year, just as he was horrendous from the free throw line. And LeBron is now, a 34.5% three-point career shooter. So you're going to have two brickers from three, and that is not what you want. So here's my point. I give LeBron credit because I do believe he's the de facto GM of this team. I believe he either suggested or at least co-signed all those sweet little moves that both you guys talked about, and I liked every one of them. I love bringing back Dwight because I said they would miss Dwight last year, and they did. I like all the moves, all the way down to re-signing THT on TNT.
Right.
Like it. He's going to rise and shine and flourish and come of age next year, probably as a starter for this team. I like all of the above, except what is at the very top of the above. You cannot overcome Russell Westbrook. Again, all those moves have been undercut, disqualified, canceled by the fact that LeBron signed off on Russell Westbrook as his, I think, primary decision maker as his point guard. And again, I love to watch Russ operate. He's averaged triple-doubles 4 of the last 5 years, which is off the charts, all-time great. He is a no-doubt first-ballot Hall of Famer. He is must-see. But in the end, I would not want him on my team. And that is why he is on his 4th team in 4 years, because Kevin Durant finally decided after 8 long years in Oklahoma City, I cannot win with him as our primary decision maker. And then James Harden, after 1 year, said, no, I just can't do it with him. I need out of here. And Russ obviously wanted away from James also.
You do realize, though, Skip, you say that Kevin Durant scored the most points he ever scored in the season with Russell, 32.8. Bradley Beal scored the most points he'd ever scored in the season with Russell Westbrook. Paul George had his highest scoring average he'd ever had with Russell Westbrook. And he can't be all bad, can he?
And what happened when Paul George was given his escape hatch by Kawhi Leonard? He said, thank you.
He went
I'm out.
He should have, Russ said, well, you should have went home before we played Utah. That way you wouldn't have put that 5-piece on me.
As ESPN reported, what did Kawhi do when Russell Westbrook was knocking down his door, take me with you to the Clippers? What did he do? He said, I don't want you, but I want your teammate. I want Paul George.
Very snakish, Chris. Okay. That was very snakish behavior.
Okay, but that's what he chose.
That was cold-blooded.
It was cold-blooded. He chose Paul George over Russell Westbrook. So all these great players have all said no to Russell Westbrook except for LeBron, and he's trying to say, hey, watch me. I can do it. I think I can do it. I'm not sure. I'll delete my tweet about it because I'm not sure I can back this up. But I told you that it could go down as the all-time shrewdest move by LeBron, because if he can win with Russell Westbrook, then he can say, look, I did something KD couldn't do, Harden couldn't do, Kawhi didn't want to even try to do, Paul George couldn't do. But if he loses because of Russell Westbrook, which I think is going to happen, I think it's going to be a disaster, then LeBron can step back and he can have the ultimate scapegoat in Russell Westbrook, because you guys don't love him. You guys are primed. You're ready. You're poised to leap on him because the GOAT, quote unquote, needs a scapegoat. And this will be the ultimate scapegoat for LeBron James. Am I right about that?
No.
And what have I told you about stats? Look at what Russ has done. Last year, he led the league in turnovers. He's led the league in turnovers 3 times. He's been second 4 times. He's led the league in usage rate 4 times, and he's been second 4 more times. He needs the ball, and he's going to turn over the ball, and he's going to miss a lot of threes. Do you love that? Is that your formula for winning?
The same thing you said about
disaster.
For what you just said, Skip, that's why, to me, LeBron has to be the point guard. You cannot have Russ, as much as we love Russ, and as you said, first ballot Hall of Famer, icon, all that. His weakness has been, in addition to shooting, he doesn't make good decisions.
He does not.
All right? And that's why LeBron has got to be the ball handler. And Russ in Houston. When Russ was in Houston, he took off over the second half of the season because he stopped shooting threes. So when he got the ball on the wing, he drove. And that's what the Lakers have to tell him to do. When you get it, don't settle for that three, because they're going to give him the three.
Yeah.
If I'm the defender, I'm in the paint, daring him to shoot the three, right? So he's got to drive the ball, and that's how he. And again, he'll get his ball handling the ball in transition, and with the second unit, it's an experiment. I give you that, but I don't see LeBron being so smart basketball IQ-wise, letting Russ make the decisions, especially late in the game. Now, are you going to say Russ will be the point most of the game and then LeBron will handle the ball late in game? I don't know. Maybe that's something.
We'll let him make some of the decisions, Chris.
But, what was that?
We'll let him make some of the decisions. We ain't going to let him make all the decisions.
Yeah. Make a few when LeBron's on the bench. And here's the other thing, guys. The age. And LeBron got mad in the tweet and all that. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
No team in NBA history has started a season this old and won the championship. And when we look at all the big threes that have failed, we talk about the ones that succeeded. We look at the ones that failed. Skip, you remember Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, Jerry West. Never won a championship together. Charles Barkley, Hakeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler. Barkley, Olajuwon, Scottie Pippen. Malone, Karl Malone, Gary Peyton, Shaq and Kobe.
Yep.
Remember the Lakers a few years ago? Dwight, Nash, Kobe, Pau Gasol. All of those teams failed because of age and some
Injury.
parts of those big threes or big fours couldn't stay healthy.
Yep.
So that's a question, too. Will LeBron stay healthy? Will AD be healthy, even though he's not old? And the other guys are role players, so you would think that Melo and Ariza, should be okay because they're role players, Dwight. But AD and LeBron's health is also a big factor.
That's my only concern.
Health.
Yep.
Okay. I have only one concern. The reason this is going to be a disaster is that Russ, you can't trust in the biggest games, in postseason games. That's why KD said, remember, they blew the 3-1 lead to Golden State. And go look at Russ's stats. KD wasn't much better, but he wasn't the primary decision maker. And he got sick of watching Russ dribble the ball up the floor and saying, nah, it's my turn this time. No, I can do this. No, you got to give... Okay.
Well, y'all didn't like Russ. Okay. Nobody liked Russ. We're going to take Russ and going to make something special out of it.
So do I think that Russ will help the Lakers win a whole bunch of regular season games? I do, because I told you before, Russ is even more invested emotionally in the Lakers than LeBron is, because Russ grew up just living and dying all things Lakers. So he's going to step on the floor in purple and gold and feel like he belongs because he is home. He is playing for the team that he loved with all his heart and soul his whole life.
Well, that's what we need.
Okay.
He going to get us the regular season, and then go James and take it over come playoff time.
Well, is that okay? Boom. Okay. Russ doesn't operate like that. He's bull in China shop. His ego is so big in a good way that it's like, I am the world. I got this. You know it, and I know it. You've seen it in too many playoff games. I got it. Just give me the ball and get out of the way. See rim, attack rim. And he shoots 65% from the free throw line. I mean, it's just not good enough. He's not gifted at making the play to win the game the way a Magic was. He doesn't have any magic in him.
Chris, what I told Skip earlier is that the only hole in his resume, he's got a gold medal. He's won an MVP. Right. He has triple-doubles in 4 of the past 5 seasons. He's an all-star game MVP. The only thing that's missing on his resume. What else does he have to prove? Nobody is going to change. The only thing that will change your perception of Russell Westbrook is if he gets a title. He gets another triple-double. They're going to be like, oh, Russ had another triple-double, 5 triple-doubles in 6 years. That doesn't do anything for him. And I think he's coming to think about it. Everybody was still criticized, even though he was on the cusp of getting another triple-double. It's like, okay, and it's winning him what? So now he would AD.
I agree, Shannon. Like, I don't think Russell's ego is going to be a problem. I mean, I think when he went to Houston, he deferred to James Harden.
He did.
Right? He was willing to do what they asked him to do. To me, I think he is totally sincere when he says, I'll do whatever we have to do to win. The question is, his game is his game. If Russell Westbrook dials it back too much, then guess what? He ain't Russell Westbrook. Like, what's the point of having him if he dials it back too much?
We'll make it work,
so I
Chris.
think you have to find that balance of him being able to be Russ. That's why I say LeBron, to me, of the big three, the guy that is most built to kind of back off and let the other two be the focal points offensively is LeBron. Because like I said, LeBron's going to score 20-plus points without even trying. I think he should make sure those two get theirs, and he is the table setter like Magic Johnson.
Okay, I'm on record. I'm going to say it one more time. LeBron will regret the day he signed off on Russell Westbrook.
We don't regret anything.
Well, watch.
No mercy.
Thursday, the Yankees and White Sox travel to Iowa in the site of the most beloved baseball movie of all time to play a historic regular season matchup on the real Field of Dreams. You won't want to miss it. The MLB Field of Dreams game presented by Geico. Coverage begins Thursday at 6 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. How cool is that? Looking forward to an amazing game. And it was a great weekend for Kevin Durant, who carried Team USA in the first half of the gold medal game and finished with 29 points. FIBA named Katie the Tokyo Olympics men's basketball MVP. He also passed Melo as Team USA's all-time leading Olympic scorer. And after the win over France, Durant had a message for the doubters. Take a listen.
They had some power rankings out. They had us 4th. Behind that Slovenia.
Like this not our game.
Come on, man. Talking about they catching up to us. Like, are you serious? This skill is unmatched. You dig? Shout out to everybody that won this gold. Everybody that chipped in and helped out.
Enough himself. Chris Broussard still with us, but Skip, I will start with you because I know you have a lot to say.
I have a lot to say about this.
What did he prove on Friday?
All I heard from both of you guys, and I'm talking to Chris Broussard and Shannon Sharp, after Team USA lost its first 2 exhibitions to Nigeria and Australia, was that the sky was falling on Team USA's head. The rest of the world has caught up to us in men's basketball, and our guys are in trouble. And I kept saying, no. They have the best player on the planet, Kevin bleeping Durant. And then we went on vacation, and then Kevin's team lost the Olympic opener to France. And I'm just following on Twitter. I'm getting bombarded by text messages, and it came clear to me that much of the world is waiting for Kevin Durant to fall on his face. And I'm talking about all those blind witnesses out there, all of those LeBron loyalists, those LeBron apologists, those LBJ defenders out there. They were all waiting for Kevin Durant's team to just stink it up in Japan so that they could say, see? Kevin isn't the leader that LeBron is. That's all I heard. I can't tell you how many texts I got from people who often appear on this show, entertainers that you know all too well. And I kept firing back texts to them saying, no, just watch what's about to happen. And Kevin Durant did it again. When it was time to get buckets, he got buckets. He is the most lethal mid-range jump shooter I have ever seen. And he leads on the basketball court. And he is now the all-time leading scorer for Team USA men's basketball. He has now won 3 gold medals by averaging 30 points a game in all 3 gold medal games. He even threw in 2010 the FIBA World Championship in which he was the MVP. So he is now 4 for 4 in international competition. He is the best player on the planet. If you needed proof, and I think you did, you saw it again in the gold medal game on Friday night. This man is unbelievably good, and I'm happy. I'm glad that he gloated after the game as he walked up the tunnel with Draymond obviously chiming in the background, because he deserved to gloat, because everybody was waiting for Kevin to fail. And once again, he took over. Whatever basketball game he's in, NBA or international, he dominated once again. Thank you very much, Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant proved that he was the leader of the de facto leader of this team. He led them to the gold medal. They would not have won the gold medal without Kevin Durant. They would not even made the medal round without Kevin Durant.
Thank you.
I will concede that. But Skip, Chris, when have we started using Olympic play to determine who's the best player in the NBA? We've never done that before. Carmelo Anthony, in two of the 3 games that he played in the Olympic game that he played, He was better.
Well, did he not have way more help than Kevin had in this Olympics?
But nobody said he was better than LeBron. But see, what we learned, and over the last 19 days, the Olympics were on. And I know you didn't notice this, Chris, but they have a new category called hating. And Skip Bayless is your gold medalist because what he's trying to do is use this to try to, you know what he's trying to do?
You were trying to use this to undercut Kevin Durant.
How?
And you failed, and it's okay.
Skip,
just own it.
Skip.
Eat it.
Nobody said, I didn't see Skip Bayless tweet one thing when Kevin Durant scored 10 points in the opening round when they lost to France. He didn't tweet that he was the best player. When he scored 10 points the next game, he didn't tweet. He didn't start tweeting.
Were those elimination games?
Nope. Whoa.
Nope.
So now they don't count. So
they didn't count.
Now,
they didn't matter.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to go with the guy that had a 50-piece in the clincher. Because what he's been telling us, Chris, for the last 6 years, if a man goes to your house, beats you in your house, he wins the title, he the man.
Kevin Durant by himself almost beat the entire Milwaukee Bucks. He came within 1/10 of an inch of his toenail.
Did he do it?
Yeah, he made the shot of shots, one of the great clutch shots ever made in NBA playoff games. He made it, and unfortunately, it counted 2 instead of 3.
Chris,
or we'd be having a different conversation.
and I'm going to turn it over to you, Chris. We've never used the Olympic play to determine who's the best player in the NBA. Now, because Kevin Durant won the gold medal and he played exemplary the last 3 games to get to that point, he played great. But we've never used this as a barometer to measure who's the best player in the NBA.
Was there another superstar on this team? Nope.
Skip.
Nope. Way to go, Kevin.
We've never done this before, and I'm not going to let you do it now. Okay?
I just did it.
No, you didn't.
Yep.
You know, you got a gold medal in hating on LeBron.
No.
You know this is
I
about
got a gold medal in truth-telling.
KD was awesome. KD is the best scorer in the world. All right? In fact, and we can argue over who would take the last shot, Dame, Kyrie, KD. But if I need buckets at any point in the game, if I'm trailing late first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, there's nobody on the planet I'd rather have than Kevin Durant. His combination of size, skill, ball handling, shooting is ridiculous. He's unstoppable. All right? In fact, if I take out Wilt and Kareem because of their big men, I would only really historically probably take Jordan when I need a bucket. I'm taking Michael first, and then I might go KD.
Yep.
But Skip, and he was great in the Olympics. But here's the dirty little secret. It's the unfortunate truth for Team USA. When you play in the Olympics for Team USA men's basketball, you are in a no-win situation. All right? If you win, you just did what you're supposed to. If you lose, then you're going to get criticized substantially, right? We were not at fault for criticizing them for losing the 22nd ranked Nigeria, which went 0-3 in the Olympics. We were not at fault for them criticizing them for losing Australia. And KD, he can gloat all he wants, he deserves to. But for him to say, oh, they talk about the world catching up, that was your coach. That was Greg Popovich, all right? After every loss saying the world's caught up. It's no surprise when we lose. So gloat at Popovich, all right? You need to go at him. He's the one that said it. But Skip, they did what they were supposed to do. And I'm not sure. Shannon said they wouldn't have won gold without KD. He was clearly the man. But I'm not so sure.
That would he make the medal round.
One NBA player. They had one player who has ever made an NBA All-Star team. We had 9. I mean, we even all my criticism, I never said they weren't going to win it. I thought they'd win it. I gave them a soft buy on winning it. And it was a soft buy because they only won by 5. Why in the world is a team with 9 NBA All-Stars beating a team with 1 by 5 points? So we need to gloat. You can gloat, but gloat with limitations. Because France shouldn't have been that close to you. So, Skip, I'm going best player in the world. It's debatable. It's not like when Michael Jordan was best, even if he didn't win the championship, we all knew he was the best. If LeBron didn't win the championship, we all knew he's the best. This is a fluid situation. But right now, I'm going with Giannis. All right? Because when Giannis plays to his strengths inside, stop being the point guard, stop being the point forward, he can dominate inside like KD dominates on the perimeter, but then Giannis can dominate on the defensive end as well. Giannis can dominate the backboards as well. Giannis is as lethal as KD in transition, going to the hoop and dunking on people. The only thing Giannis needs to do is stop taking all those jumpers, stop being the point. Yeah, just do your thing in the paint, big man, and nobody's going to stop.
And all you need to do is stop hating.
Giannis isn't even the closer for his own team. Chris Middleton was the closer. Chris Middleton wasn't the closer for the Olympic team. It was Kevin Durant. And by the way, Damian Lillard, you guys always call him superstar. He's not a superstar. He gets up to hit the 2 clinching free throws. He gags both of them. I'm sorry, that's just...
He didn't play well this
He did not play well, and Kevin said, I got you. Don't worry about it. Kevin went and took the ball inbounds because he said, come foul me. I'll go down to that free throw line, and I will make both, and this will be over.
But, Chris, if you look at this, Skip, they're not making the medal rounds, Chris. Because they get down by 41 without Kevin Durant being spectacular to keep it attached, because he said, I'm not shooting threes, I'm going to put my head down, and I'm going to get to about 15 feet, and I'm going to elevate, and you're not going to be able to do it. And they just kept chipping. Without Kevin Durant, they're not making the medal rounds. Luka, if you want to make a case for Luka.
I think they would have played differently. I think they would have played different. You know, when you got Kevin Durant, you've got the crutch. Right? You know, you got this guy that can take over, and he did. But I think if they don't have KD, I think they go into that playing differently. I mean, they had Dame, and you're right, he didn't play well. Drew Holiday actually played better than Dame.
Yeah, he did.
Right? But Devin Booker played well, right? Middleton played okay, especially at times. I mean, I just think, look, Team USA, we shouldn't have to send our absolute best to win. The world has caught up. The world. The globe. But no individual country's caught up.
Exactly.
France hasn't caught up. Slovenia hasn't caught up. So we should still be winning. Look, I'm not taking anything from KD, but like you said, Shannon, at the end of the day, the Olympic stage is not where you prove you're the best player in the world.
Final point about Kevin Durant in the Olympics. We were undersized in every game. Yes. You said that against Spain and then Australia and France. Yeah. Undersized.
Right.
Kevin Durant as a rim protector, as a shot blocker, as the final line of defense was spectacular. He got us through undersized. He's like a 2-guard who can go underneath and defend. So I'm sorry. He's the best player on the planet.
But I do believe Kevin Durant, and maybe it's because he's playing for the team that everybody was rooting for, USA, I believe Kevin Durant became equally as beloved, if not more so, than winning those 2 championships in Golden State, Chris. Because I'm reading my timeline and I'm seeing what everybody's tweeting and what everybody's putting on IG, Skip. He became the beloved figure after that game on Saturday night.
Well, he deserved it.
No mercy. Well, it's been a wild offseason for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, to say the least. But in the end, Green Bay's franchise QB signed a reworked deal. And as part of the contract, the final year, which was set to be 2023, will now be voided. This means Rodgers will become a free agent a year earlier than previously scheduled, although the Packers could trade him next offseason. So, Shannon, are you surprised he will play this year in Green Bay?
I'm a little, because, Skip, the situation seemed unattainable for a while there. But the Packers dug in and said, look, you're either playing for us or you're not playing this year. The choice is yours. You can forego $30, $35 million and sit at home and mope and talk about how bad we did you and we don't listen to you. Or you come here and play. Now, I would have liked to see Brady. I would have liked to see Rodgers get a Brady deal. Brady said, I tell you what I'd do. Give me $8 million signing bonus to get me up to about $23 million, because I got $15 million base. Give me another 8, make it 23. And then let me be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year, and you can't franchise me. Because now I want choice of where I go.
You're talking about with New England.
With New England, what he did in New England, Skip. Right. He says, I want to be free, and you can't tag me. Well, he still has a year left. And Green Bay, let me tell you what Green Bay's going to do. Green Bay said, we're not letting you go for nothing. We're going to trade you to a team that gives us the best value. So I like him getting that 2023, but, you know, they do play football in 2022. So he's not out of the woods just yet.
No.
But it just seems to me, Skip, everybody's saying the right things now. Yeah, it's a process. Gutekunst, they're talking, and we got to work through things, yada, yada, all that, yada, yada, yada. Aaron Rodgers wants out. He wanted out. And I believe at the end of this year, he will be gone. But it might not be to the team that he wants to go to because he doesn't really have that choice because they still have his rights for another year.
So, all through all the gnashing of teeth that Aaron Rodgers is gone, I dug in over here and I said, no, he will be a Packer this year.
Yeah, you dug in because you said they should dig in.
They dug in. And it sounds like, I think Green Bay won this.
They did.
Because
they get his services for another year.
Aaron Rodgers is still a Packer.
Yes.
He's still the defending MVP of the league. And they're still a very good football team. And yet, I told you all along, Aaron Rodgers would like to retire a Packer. All things considered, I believe that's what he wants to do. He also knows his bread's getting buttered pretty good in Green Bay because Devontae was ranked #1 by Pro Football Focus. The #1 receiver in Pro Football last year was Devontae Adams.
But you see what they posted on IG? They both posted Rodgers and Devontae last dance picture, Jordan Pippen.
Okay. Well, is that just their way of trying to get even for what happened to Aaron?
Nah, Aaron's I'm gone. Devontae Green Bay gonna throw a boatload of money there.
And by the way, Pro Football Focus ranked Green Bay's pass blocking last year 2nd in the NFL. Well, this is a pretty good situation for him, right?
Yeah.
And he knows it. I thought it was a sympathy play on his part to say, first of all, he wanted more money, and he didn't get any more money.
He didn't want any more money. They tried to get it to me, saying, didn't he tell you it wasn't about the money? Skip, look, I think Aaron knows. He has Bakhtiari. He has an outstanding offensive line. The running back, Aaron Jones, is phenomenal.
He's really good.
Devontae and Robert Tonyan, they got Valdez Scanlon. They got guys.
And they drafted another receivers.
Right. They're very good offensively. It was never about that. I think he elaborately laid out what caused the problem. Now, Green Bay is like, look, we can't just have everybody. This ain't no retirement facility here. We can't have guys. When guys' production start to wane, we just can't keep them because they're your boys. We got to do what's in the best. And I get it. You know, he wanted them to keep Jordan. He wanted to keep Clay Matthews Jr. He wanted to keep a lot of different guys in Cobb and this one, that one. He's like, the money that they were asking for the value and the production that they were giving, it just didn't align. Aaron has to understand that. But that's something they could have shared with him. They could have talked to him about because he's like, look, I see Tom get whatever he wants. Peyton went to Denver and whatever he asked for. Well, they normally do that when you leave, not while you're there. Tom didn't get that say-so when he was in New England, Skip.
Is Aaron Rodgers Tom Brady?
But Skip,
no.
Skip.
Is Aaron Rodgers Peyton Manning? No.
Skip. The Chicago Bears called Andy Dalton and told him that they're going to take a quarterback. Now, Andy Dalton just got there. First of all, Andy Dalton, when they told him they was taking Justin Fields, he should have gotten in his car and met Justin Fields at the airport and said, here, I'm here to pick you up. That's what he should have done.
All right.
So Aaron Rodgers, if they can give that kind of courtesy to Andy Dalton, what do you think Aaron Rodgers deserves? Forget that he's not as accomplished. He's not, okay, if you say he's not as good as Tom Brady, okay.
Aaron Rodgers is 1-4 in NFC Championship.
So what's Andy Dalton?
This isn't about Andy Dalton.
But I'm saying, he's saying even when they took Patrick Mahomes, guess what? Big Red Andy Reid picked up the phone, called Alex Smith, and said, we're going to take a quarterback. Skip, that's just common courtesy. That's all.
The Packers won this battle.
I'm not here to debate that. I'm not saying, yes, they have another year of his service.
No mercy. The great Manny Pacquiao takes on undefeated world champ Errol Spence Jr. in the welterweight title fight we've been waiting for because to be a legend, you have to beat a legend. Pacquiao, Spence Jr., August 21st, live on pay-per-view. Buy it now on the Fox Sports app and watch on any screen you want. Well, get this. Russell Westbrook almost landed in L.A. 2 years ago, but not with the Lakers. According to reports, Russ apparently asked Kawhi Leonard about a Clippers team up 2 years ago, but Kawhi then turned around and asked Paul George to join forces instead. So, Shannon, what does this tell you?
Your guy got a little slither to it. And my thing is, Skip, the man reaches out. You call him back and say, Russ, I've already talked to a couple of people that I've already put this in motion, and I'm thinking about joining up with them. I appreciate that you thought enough of me that you and I would work well together, but I'm currently going in a different direction. Boom, no problem. The man called you, you don't return his call, you reach out to Paul George. Really?
Well, then you were able to tell Paul George that Russ is indicating he wants out of Oklahoma City to come to the Clippers, right?
My thing.
So that allows Paul to say, well, if he wants out,
and then why you going behind that man? But that man told you something. Why you going behind his back talking? Here's another thing. The very thing that you and a lot of others have said about LeBron James and Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard's the exact same person, just quieter. Yeah. And that's what we seem to. That's what was going unnoticed. Yep. Because Kawhi is so quiet. Oh, Kawhi is secretly behind the scenes, orchestrating trades, bringing in this one, bringing in that one. Kawhi Leonard is quietly behind the scene, displaying snakish behavior. But because he's quiet, it goes unnoticed. Boy, I'm so glad they brought this out, because I've been telling you this for the longest from what I've been hearing about what this young man's been doing behind the scenes. And a lot of people didn't want to hear it. Oh, you're a LeBron supporter. The best thing to happen to me since I've been on this show is this information coming out, because it crystallized a lot of things for a lot of people in a lot of people's eyes. Your guy is the exact thing, the very thing. My grandfather used to tell me and my brother this all the time. He said, boy, if you're not careful, you will become the very thing you despise the most in a person. Kawhi Leonard is the exact, what people despise the most in LeBron and Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard is the very same thing.
Okay. What have I called him from the start? The quiet assassin. He is at heart, at bedrock. He is an assassin, quiet as he may be. What have I told you about how he quit his way out of San Antonio? I have forgiven, but I haven't forgotten, because I can't. What happened for a whole year on the show? I couldn't even speak the man's name. I called him number 2, as in, you know what number 2 stands for, because I could not stomach what he had done to my San Antonio Spurs, and he frankly left him for dead, basically, right?
And he tried him and his uncle tried to hold the Toronto Raptors hostage.
They tried to hold a bunch of teams hostage.
They did.
They were breaking all kinds of rules, and they got away with it, and he got where he wanted to go via Toronto and a championship. He got home to the Clippers, and he's still with the Clippers, and this will only increase the bad blood between the Clippers and the Lakers. And one of these years, please God, let them meet head-to-head in a conference finals, because it would be the greatest theater ever. At least for this show, it would work, because we would be on the edge of our seats. But all I know is that in the end, he actually used Russ against Paul George to allow Paul George to say, well, if he...
Actually, he used Russ against Russ because he went and told Paul George what Russ had told...
That's what I'm saying. But he used Russ to convince Paul George, well, you're free, because he's trying to get out. He's trying to get out. Well, then I want out. Right?
Yes.
And so he did, in the end, he chose Paul George over Russ.
But why did he tell Paul George? Now, Paul, I want you to understand, I've already reached out to KD. I've already reached out to Jimmy Butler. I've already reached out to Kyrie. He didn't tell PG that. He just told PG that Russ had contacted him about linking up with the Clippers. Oh, really? See, that joker there, but that Kawhi Leonard, I told you, boy, he's slicker than an eel.
Well, you want to talk about audacity. What did he do on opening night? We're going back 2 years ago against the Lakers. He drops a New Balance commercial right on LeBron's head during the game, in which he said, I've got next. This is Kawhi town.
Hey, that ain't
you want to talk about some you-know-what?
That ain't go very well. Because at the end of the day, what happened? He had a 3-1 lead. Gagged it off, and my guy got the trophy. And it's still my guy town.
Last year, they were NBA Finals bound until he got hurt. No, they were. Well, even you agreed. You admitted they would have beaten Phoenix.
You keep telling me, Skip, he got next. But when is next? Because we done ran 2 seasons, and he ain't been next.
Next year, he's got next.
Skip, the man gonna miss half the year.
He'll be back in April. He'll be just fine. They're going to be a terror.
You're saying that's what a normal NBA player would do if he had this injury.
Okay.
What does Kawhi's history tell you about him having injuries and the time it takes him to come back?
You're probably right, but all is fair in love and pro basketball. That's what he's telling you.
So in other words, Kawhi Leonard is more like Kevin Durant. If you do whatever you dislike about KD, whatever you dislike about LeBron, that's the guy. He just don't say anything with no social media.
I cannot.
No mercy. Back down.
Summer League kicked off last night and featured the top 2 picks of the draft. The number 1 overall pick, Cade Cunningham, scored 12 points for Detroit on 5 of 17 shooting. The second overall pick, Jalen Green, scored 23 points for Houston. And LiAngelo Ball made the most of his opportunity with the Hornets, draining 5 threes and finishing with 16 points. So, Shannon, what was the story of the night for you?
Well, Skip, you know, I had a little surgery. I've been sitting around, and since the Olympics had gone off, I ain't had anything to do, so I've been scrolling, just watching. I thought LiAngelo Ball was impressive. Skip, his dad has maintained from day one.
He has.
The best shooter of the family is Jello, LiAngelo Ball.
And he's the strongest.
And the strongest. He's the best shooter. He just needs someone to give him a fair opportunity. I was very impressed. Skip, I mean, Jalen was great. But Skip, he's the number 2 pick in the draft. Cade Cunningham wasn't so much. But there's a kid out of Atlanta. I think Jalen Johnson is his name, Skip. I think he's from Duke. He had 2010.
He did. No, I agree.
But for me, LiAngelo Ball, and it wasn't close.
All right. So I know it was just the first Summer League game, but I thought Jalen Green started making a statement that Detroit made the wrong pick at number 1, taking Cade Cunningham. Jalen Green, I've said from the start, he can shoot it and score it like crazy. And I believe he has the potential to lead this league in scoring and make Houston basketball fun again. And listen, Cade Cunningham is not as explosive an athlete as Jalen Green.
Skip, but I don't think any of us saw LiAngelo doing what he did. 5 of 8 from 3.
Fair.
He might make it.
Might.
I hope so. Or do I hope so? That is it for Undisputed. Skip, Shannon, it was great to see you guys again. We are back tomorrow, same time. Don't you worry. Have a good one, guys.